my pleasure to welcome you today to the ribbon cutting for Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall, the new home for the College of Education and Human Sciences. This building has been in the planning and construction phase for many years with the theme of making learning visible. And I think as you move through the building today, you are going to see that theme quite prevalent. And you'll learn a little bit more about what that means as you hear from this morning's speakers. Now, as a college, we have prioritized three grand visions: thriving young children, comprehensive health and well-being, and strong communities. And our university's land grant mission means that the discovery and innovation from the college is extended throughout Nebraska to Nebraska, but also done with Nebraska. And just a few examples. We are helping our young children thrive through work that enhances coaching of early child care professionals. Last year, early childhood extension professionals reached nearly 118,000 early child care providers with both online and in-person professional development. In the area of health and well-being, our research in exercise science is looking at human performance, specifically in the area of muscle fatigue and what kind of strategies can be used to reduce muscle fatigue in exercise. We are fostering strong communities by filling the teacher pipeline with highly qualified, prepared teachers. Of our nearly 2,500 undergraduate students, 1,000 students are in various stages of completing their training to be teachers. And I hope every one of them will fill Nebraska schools. Other work in the college is addressing ways to strengthen teachers and parents as partners, preventing dating violence and substance abuse among adolescents, creating healthy outcomes in young children by looking at the bonding of parents and their children. And these are just a few examples of the work that will happen in Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall. But I don't want to dismiss the work that happens throughout the entire college. Additional leading edge work happens in the college's spaces on City Campus, on East Campus, and on Innovation Campus. In addition, we have work happening throughout the state of Nebraska. So wherever our chancellor goes, he cannot escape the College of Education and Human Sciences. Now, to solve the complex problems that we're addressing, we have a number of partners across the state, including the campuses in the NU system, and I am hopeful that some of the deans from those campuses are here today, state colleges, community colleges, the educational service units, schools, healthcare clinics, community agencies, state agencies, and so on. So I know we have representatives from many of our partners here today. We appreciate you and are grateful for your support and work with us. If we could just give all of our partners a big round of applause. Now, there are so many people that we need to thank for this day happening and making this building possible. First and foremost, I want to thank the state of Nebraska. This building is a taxpayer-funded building. I recognize the importance of the Nebraska taxpayer. We all are taxpayers. Today and every day that I come to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I am a happy taxpayer. And this building is a direct reflection of Nebraska's investment in teacher preparation, and we're extremely appreciative of that support. I hope Nebraska taxpayers will come and visit often and regularly and become strong partners to help us help Nebraska. Secondly, I want to recognize Dean Emeritus Marjorie Kostelnik. Marjorie, would you please stand? Marjorie oversaw this building from inception to completion, and we are very grateful for all of her work. I also want to recognize Sinclair Hilly Architects, Sasaki Associates, who helped in the planning and work in the building, and Houseman Construction, who made it become a reality. And I'm very appreciative of all the faculty and staff across the college who worked on numerous committees in the planning and design phases of this building. I can't tell you how many committees there were. Audiovisual committees, furniture committees, moving committees. So lots of committees. So many, many thanks to all the faculty and staff throughout the college and the campus who helped make this building a reality. Now, the stunning mural that you see behind me is the creation of Thurman Statham. Thurman, where are you? Thurman, would you please stand? Thurman is a glass artist based in Omaha, and I think he did a remarkable job of incorporating the theme of the building and reflecting the vibrancy, creativity, and uniqueness of Nebraska and the college. So thank you, Thurman. Beautiful, beautiful piece of artwork. Now a little bit about Carolyn, who the building is named after. This is named for a very special member of our college community, an internationally recognized scholar, a professor of psychology and child, youth, and family studies. She was a faculty member at Nebraska for 18 years. She was a true pioneer in helping children and adults gain insight into the process of learning through inquiry, observation, and reflection. And I want to give a quote, either from one of her comments or from one of her books. But here's words of Carolyn. Asking an educational question, then observing and recording, that is, gathering evidence and artifacts of what happens in the classroom, then analyzing and reflecting on them, interpreting and evaluating what they mean, then planning next steps and asking new questions, while always finding ways to communicate to children and adults what has happened. This documentation process makes learning visible to the children, to the teachers, to other adults, including families and visitors. Making learning visible is what Carolyn's work was all about. And she had many professional honors, including Distinguished Research and Creative Activity Award from UNL, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the North American Reggio Emilia Alliance, and the University of Nebraska's highest award for outstanding research and creative activity. And we're thrilled today to be joined by Carolyn's family, Rick Edwards, and members of Carolyn's family who are sitting here in the front row. So we're just thrilled to have you with us today. And I encourage you to visit the display at the entrance here. Many of you saw it as you entered the building today, but there is a display that talks more about Carolyn's work and her remarkable legacy. So please take an opportunity to view that display. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Chancellor of the University of Nebraska, Ronnie Green, who gave tremendous remarks yesterday at the State of the University, even sang, "There is no place like Nebraska." I don't know if he's going to sing this morning, but we're very happy. Chancellor Green.
Well, good morning. Isn't it a great day to be in Nebraska? And to have the opportunity to cut the ribbon formally on this beautiful new facility that's world-class in every respect, as Sherri's already said, as a new anchor home, I'll call it that, for the College of Education and Human Sciences. I want to start, just in my few brief remarks here, by thanking Sherri Jones. Sherri is providing exceptional leadership for this college, and the leadership team that she has working with her. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of this building from the perspective of kind of living through the lead up to it. And I'm going to start with a story that pays tribute to Marjorie Kostelnik, who was mentioned earlier as the Dean Emeritus, who, as many of you know, was the driving force behind making this happen. I remember, Marjorie, I don't remember the exact year. I think it was probably 2014, somewhere in that category. And the Board of Regents were visiting. They had a campus visit that day, and they were going to facilities across campus. And of course, one of the things you do on Board of Regents tours is you show them everything we need to fix, right? So we came to Mabel Lee, and Marjorie hosted the group. I remember meeting them out right at the front of Mabel Lee, and Marjorie managed to walk through the rabbit warren, as it were, of Mabel Lee in great length with the board, and ended up taking them to the pool, all right? And sat in the pool. She first locked the door. I think she sat them on the bleachers, and they'd had the heat turned up in the pool that day, and locked the door, and then proceeded to talk to them for 30 minutes about what the opportunity was for enhancing the College of Education and Human Sciences. So Marjorie, thank you. This building has been funded. I want to give really credit where credit is due. SHERRI said it's a taxpayer-funded building, and indeed it is. It was funded by LB 957 in the Nebraska legislature. That bill had been passed in 2015 as a capital renewal investment in facilities across the university system, where the university matched equally the dollars that the state would match going forward into construction projects. And we had a process in 2016 to identify what our priorities were going to be for that $400 million that was available. I want to thank, I don't know if he's here or not this morning, but I want to publicly thank John Stenner, who was chair of the Appropriations Committee when LB 957 was funded. From Scotts Bluff, John is retiring from the Senate. He's term limited, and in the last year of his term, please give Chairman Stenner our thanks. And we went through a prioritization progress here on campus. I was brand new at the time, coming into the chancellor's role, and we went through a prioritization process for determining where we would have the opportunity to spend about $200 million of that investment in our infrastructure here at UNL. And it was clearly a slam dunk that this was the number one priority and became the number one priority for replacing Mabel Lee with this new building. So that was one. The Scott Engineering Center in the College of Engineering that we're now completing that renovation was another major piece of that project. And fittingly, Louise Pound Hall was a third part of that and the renovations that occurred there. So we're thankful to the state of Nebraska and the taxpayers of Nebraska who have allowed us to really develop this world-class facility. Now, what's going to be exciting to see happen here is what goes on in this building and the education that happens here and the scholarship that happens here. You know, that's what's going to be exciting to see as we move forward. Yeah, I am so pleased that we have the opportunity to honor Carolyn Pope Edwards and to have her name on this building. Now, SHERRI has already mentioned the Edwards family is here in force. Rick, it's great to see you and all of your children and grandchildren and Carolyn's sisters here today. I got to know Carolyn very quickly when I came to campus in 2010. Very quickly. And I remember distinctly having conversations, private conversations with Carolyn, where Carolyn would ask me hard questions and ask me hard questions about scholarship and about learning. And he'll come with those kind of loaded questions. I remember one distinctly, Rick. I'll tell you afterwards what that was all about. But remember it distinctly. And I want to call out two of her colleagues here as well, because I know you all know that there was a trifecta group in place, and that trifecta group was Carolyn Pope Edwards, Sue Sheridan, and Helen Riggs. And I think you all know that, and I know they're here somewhere as well. It's a great day to be in Nebraska. It's a great day to stand behind this wonderful piece of art, and we're going to see big things done in this building. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're going to hear from those who are really going to get the advantage of this space, and that's our students. And in this building will actually be housed the Department of Teaching, Learning, Teacher Education, the Department of Child, Youth, and Family Studies, the Nebraska Center for Research on Children, Youth, Families, and Schools, and a portion of our department from Nutrition and Health Sciences. So a really great group housed in this building to integrate the work that Ronnie alluded to that's going to happen here. And that work will be in conjunction with work happening in the conjoining buildings and with all of our spaces across the campuses, as I mentioned earlier. But let's hear from a couple of our students. First up is William Wilton. And Will will tell you a little bit about himself, but I just want to point out that Will is, he won't mention this, but he is a member of homecoming royalty this week. So congratulations to Will, one of 2 students from the college who are part of homecoming royalty. So Will, come to the podium.
Good morning. My name is William Wilton. I'm a senior family and consumer science education major, a member of the Teacher Scholars Academy, and the president of the CEHS Student Advisory Board. When I look at this building, I can't help but think of all the stories that will come from the classrooms inside and the impact of the lessons that are taught here. Over time, the memory of some classes may fade, but the classes that spark something inside you stay with you in your mind. Generations of future students will come into this space for class and leave with a better understanding of who they are in the world around them. As I reflect on my time at the university, I realize that learning is a transformative act. As students, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and ways of understanding with each class we take. And after a few short years, we have transformed into individuals who have skills that we need to go out into the world and make an impact. Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall is a space for students to come and do more than simply just take notes in a classroom. It's a space for them to be supported in their academics and guided towards their futures. As you walk through this building, you can see that the needs of students shape the design, from the range of collaborative workspaces and the adaptability of each classroom. Future generations of students will have their needs met in ways that other buildings might not be as supportive of. It's truly a 21st century building for 21st century students. Having an environment that is designed for students can help elevate learning experiences and impact the work that they do outside of the classroom. For professors, it won't be a question of how can I make this space work, but a question of how can students use this space to work best for them. With some rooms looking like traditional lecture halls and classrooms, and others being collaborative working pods, it's true that every student will have what they need to succeed in this building. When students are in spaces that work best for them, a high level of learning is able to take place. Through my coursework, I've been able to see firsthand how environmental conditions, like the design of a classroom or the access to support systems, like professors, faculty, and graduate students, can make a huge difference on student success. I'm incredibly excited to see that this building was designed with the college's #1 priority in mind, the students. We're at a time where the need for qualified and well-trained individuals in careers across education and human sciences is incredibly high. Seeing this investment that the university has made for these future careers is truly inspiring. As a family and consumer science education major, I'm driven by my passion to support future generations of students that will walk into my classroom. When you think about the work that the students in our college do once they leave, you can see that we all share a common goal of supporting the individuals that we work with and the communities that we live in. Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall stands as a physical reminder of the investment that both the college and the university have made in us as students, ensuring that we will be able to go forward and reinvest in those whom we support through our future careers. Thank you.
I think you can see we have really great students, right? Now I am pleased to introduce Inusa Magubri. Anusa is a PhD student in teaching, learning, and teacher education, and a Fulbright scholar. So Anusa, please come to the podium.
Good morning, my name is Inusa Malagubri. I'm a second-year PhD student in the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Teacher Education. And it's an honor for me to stand in front of you this morning. And I would like to know how many of you here today knew or work with Professor Carolyn Pope Edwards. So, well, I want to tell you that Dr. Carolyn is here with us today, and she's smiling, and she's happy that we're all here this morning. And we have a brand new hall that reflects her life and missions. That is, as Dr. Dean Jones has said, raising the quality of young children education by understanding how they develop and thrive cognitively, socially, and emotionally. Our building is home to the Dean's Office and 4 units, the Department of Child, Youth, and Family Studies, the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Teacher Education, the Center for Research on Children, Youth, Families, and Schools, and a laboratory for the Department of Nutrition and Health Sciences. Having a new home is one of the most beautiful moments in one's life. It brings excitement and an upgrade in our lives. The life and work of Professor Carolyn Pope Edwards are reflected from the basement to the 3rd floor, the view, and the garden. And you can see it from everywhere here. I can't help admiring the architecture that shaped the learning in the world around us. It shows us the vision and willingness to provide students from diverse backgrounds and Oregon with space for socialization, learning, support, and growth. This vision that will impact our lives can be seen through the different type of learning spaces available. The impact on our learning is visible through the monitors and cable available in the rooms and classrooms, and I can't wait to teach and learn in these rooms equipped with the latest technology. Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall makes learning visible by having faculty and students together. It makes learning visible through the graduate student assistant parts, where graduate students can work collaboratively. The kitchen area is close to the learning spaces where students can have tea or coffee or microwave their meal and enjoy them. What a great place that blends socialization, collaboration, and learning, our building blocks that give us the tool to build people and make our communities better places. I cannot end my remarks without mentioning the view from inside the building that lifts our moods and allows us to enjoy the movement outside. The sport fields, health issues, and breastfeeding mothers have also been considered in the design. We have contactless sinks in the restroom to keep us safe, while lactation places are everywhere, making Professor Edwards Pope more than ever present with us on our educational journey. I will end with a quote from Gimron, who said, "Whatever good thing we build up, end up building us." Is it then not the case that what Dr. Carolyn built at UNL is building her back? Thank you.
I mentioned our nearly 2,500 undergraduates. We have nearly 1,000 graduate students in the college, and our 3,500 students come from 73 counties in Nebraska, 43 states across the nation, and 44 countries around the world. So a really diverse community in the college that helps us do big things. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rick Edwards, who will also make a few remarks on this wonderful day. Rick.
Wow, what a beautiful new home for the College of Education and Human Sciences. This mural is fantastic. The artist is not only a genius, the genius is the person who chose the artist. Well, as you can imagine, the Edwards family is smiling today. It puts me in mind of that Norwegian farmer someplace in the Great Plains, the Norwegian farmer who loved his wife so much, he almost told her. Now, we're loving today, and we don't mind telling you. I want to thank the individuals who are responsible for the building and for the naming of the building for Carolyn. The original group, as I understand, Marjorie Kostelnik, Helen Rakes, Sue Sheridan, and I'm sure others. This naming would not have happened if it didn't have the enthusiastic endorsement and support of the Dean, Sherry Jones. Sherry, thank you. And of course, it needed the approval and enthusiasm of the Chancellor, Ronnie Green, and so Ronnie, I thank you for that. I'd like to say just a few words about Carolyn. Now, most of you who knew her when she was a relatively senior and already established scholar and teacher. What you may not know about her is that she had 3 early experiences in her life which really shaped her ideas and her career. The first was when she was an undergraduate at Harvard University. She got very interested in the study of other cultures. After her freshman year, she climbed aboard a Greyhound bus by herself in Cambridge, Massachusetts, rode it to the Texas border, crossed over and used Mexican buses to get to the Chiapas Highlands, where she joined an anthropology project. She later wrote her senior thesis on funeral rites among the Xena-Cantan Indians. But the memories that were most vivid and most cherished were the friends she made among the indigenous people in the community. She was particularly grateful to the old women of the community. Now, she was 19, so they may have been in their 30s and 40s. The old women who so generously and patiently taught her to roll tortillas and bake them on a stone by the open fire. She always felt that having a cross-cultural perspective broadened one's horizons, sometimes helped the local cultures learn about themselves, and most importantly, helped us learn better about our own selves. The second experience she had was when she was a graduate student at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Her mentor was Beatrice Whiting, a famed anthropologist, and Beatrice's husband, John Whiting, also a famous anthropologist. Beatrice told Carolyn there are 2 ways to learn about other cultures, or maybe anything else: counting and telling stories, or science and humanities, if you like. And she said, both are valid paths to understanding. Now, the Whitings were on the counting side. They did a lot of that. Carolyn wrote her doctoral dissertation on moral development among Kenyan teenagers, which involved a lot of data collection and analysis and so on. She always thought that science was the foundation for what she did. She believed in that. The third experience she had was this. After she taught 2 years at Vassar, we spent a year at Princeton, and then we tried to get ourselves back together again. I was at the University of Massachusetts. So she accepted a job at Massachusetts, a very bad job. It was low pay, low status, part-time, and non-tenure track. One of the responsibilities of that job was to be the director of the university lab school, which enrolled children from 3 months to 5 years. Now, Carolyn had no experience running a daycare. I'm not sure she'd even been in one. She quickly learned that, in fact, that center was run by 2 very smart and skilled young teachers. And those teachers taught Carolyn how to see children as individuals with individual stories. She was ever grateful for those 2 young teachers who taught her how to understand children in that way. Now, the chief hindrance that she faced in her career was her husband. We were both fully promoted and tenured at the University of Massachusetts when I decided to launch my brilliant administrative career. So we moved to the University of Kentucky, and she needed to find new colleagues and recruit new graduate students and start all over. And then 7 years later, we came to the University of Nebraska, and again, she had to find new colleagues and new students and so on, which she did. Now, in my own mind, I have relitigated that situation. And it turns out that I wasn't a hindrance, I was the hero. Because it was at Nebraska that she found her best colleagues, her most stimulating colleagues, her best and most challenging graduate students, where she found a place where she could really be productive and thrive. And so it was here that she found an academic and intellectual home. She became a Husker fan. No, she became a Husker fanatic, much to the surprise of her family. She served as a guest coach during Frankie Solich's last year as head football coach. Now, of course, Frankie got fired at the end of that season. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would have happened if he had really listened to her ideas about the jet sweep? So it was at Nebraska that Carolyn found her intellectual, academic home. She was productive, she was happy. She had cherished colleagues and cherished students. And so in addition to thanking the university and the chancellor and the dean for this wonderful building and for naming this building for Carolyn, I want to thank the faculty and the administrators and the staff and the students of the College of Education and Human Resources for making such a wonderful home for Carolyn. Thank you.
We will be forever grateful that you found your way to Nebraska. Now I'm going to invite Rick and Ronnie to the ribbon so that we can put a seal on this day.